On the 15th day of the 7th lunar month, the Zhongyuan festival, the gates of the underworld are wide open. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva is actively overseeing the realms of the 6 paths of samsara. He paused before the platform of samsara, gazing upon countless souls awaiting rebirth, his heart filled with compassion. Great Bodhisattva, behold, Yama, the king of hell, respectfully stands aside, pointing to a tender soul. This soul, having accumulated virtue and performed good deeds in previous lives, could have been born into a wealthy family, yet deliberately chose a poor couple as parents, which is truly perplexing. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva observes the scene of the soul selection. A couple laboring in the fields, their clothes simple and their faces weary. I vow to be their child, to grow together with them. Not far away, another soul abandoned a wealthy family and chose a pair of teacher spouses. In a previous life, they lived in luxury and splendor, but went astray due to a lack of proper guidance. This demonstrates the strict discipline of the teacher, guiding me onto the righteous path in this life. The soul respectfully explained. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, robust and smiling faintly, said, "The choice of parents by a child carries profound meaning." However, this peaceful scene was soon disrupted. Yama, the king of hell, pointed to another place. The envoy was urged to look there, but the situation was vastly different. A soul was filled with hatred, grinding its teeth and saying, "I want to collect debts from them. They owed me much in a past life. In this life, my younger brother insists on being reborn into a family with whom he had enmity. When enmity begets enmity, when will it end?" Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva sighed softly, saying, "This child is reincarnated carrying hatred. It is feared that peace between parent and child will be hard to find." As the conversation was ongoing, a judge hurriedly came to report, "Your Majesty, once again, a father and son on earth have quarreled incessantly, leading to a tragic outcome. Such incidents have been occurring frequently lately, which is truly heartbreaking." King Yama sighed deeply. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva recalled the Buddha's teaching. When a family lives in harmony, all affairs flourish. If parents and children understand each other, the household is peaceful and the nation prospers with its people at peace. At this moment, a group of devotees who had just passed away from the human realm arrived outside the Yama King's palace. They had all been parents in their lifetime, and upon hearing that Bodhisattva Kṣitigarbha was present here, they came to seek his guidance. An elderly man with white hair stepped forward and knelt, showing great compassion. "During my lifetime, I constantly quarreled with my son, and at the moment of death, we had not reconciled. This fills my heart with regret. I do not understand why my son is so rebellious. What have I done wrong?" Other devotees also share their conflicts with their children, and the hall is filled with an atmosphere of sorrow. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, seeing these parents filled with regret, was moved with compassion. He signaled for everyone to be quiet and began to reveal the truth about the parent-child relationship in the human realm. Please listen, everyone. The conflicts between parents and children in the human realm often stem from a misunderstanding of the true reason behind a child's rebirth. How many parents are so caught up in anger and blame that they fail to understand why their children choose them, let alone how to resolve these conflicts? A woman asked, "Isn't it random how a child is reborn into my family?" No, Bodhisattva Kṣitigarbha shook his head, saying, "In the cycle of samsara, all things arise from cause and effect. The arrival of a child is certainly due to its karmic conditions." At that moment, a young woman ran into the hall weeping, begging with compassion, "Please save my child." She was only 12 years old. After our quarrel, in a fit of anger, she left home and did not return for 3 days. I am filled with remorse, yet I do not know what to do. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva closed his eyes in deep contemplation for a moment, then let go of all worries. The child is still in the human realm. Only his mind is clouded by resentment, temporarily unwilling to return home. What should I do then? The woman asked urgently. Have you ever wondered why your child chose you to be their mother? Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva responded with a counter-question. The woman replied steadily, shaking her head. I have never contemplated this question. It is precisely because they do not understand this point that many parents often get into quarrels with their children, causing the deterioration of the parent-child relationship. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva sighed deeply. Another middle-aged man stepped forward to seek advice, saying, Master, my son has been intelligent and clever since childhood, but he never listens to me. Whenever I discipline him strictly, he argues back. I truly do not know how to get along with him. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked around and found that many parents shared similar confusions. In the cycle of rebirth, a soul's incarnation as a human and choice of parents is not accidental. Every child comes into the world carrying a specific mission and predestined relationships. He solemnly said that the ceaseless quarrels between father and son often conceal the debts of gratitude and resentment carried over from past lives. Those exceptionally close mother-daughter relationships may be the continuation of karmic bonds from past lives. Those brothers and sisters who support each other may have been life-and-death companions in past lives. An elder asked, Since the greater truth is thus, why do some parents and children have such strained relationships? They clearly love each other, yet they are always quarreling endlessly. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva smiled and said, This is precisely the crucial point. Worldly parents often fail to understand the true needs of their children, teaching them solely according to their own wishes. When the children disobey, they become angry, scold them, and even resort to corporal punishment. Little do they realize that this will only escalate conflicts and further strain the parent-child relationship. What shall we do? The crowd asked in unison. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva pointed to the mirror of past and present situated in the center of the grand hall, in which scenes of countless human families appeared. I saw a father angrily scolding his son. How did you fail the exam again? Other children can all achieve full marks. Why can't you? Useless thing. The child lowered his head silently, eyes filled with grievance and anger. Did you see it? Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva said, This father only sees the results but neglects the child's feelings. He did not know that this child, in a previous life, was his benefactor, and in this life, was reborn as his son to repay the kindness. But the father's actions are eroding this gratitude, transforming it into resentment. The reflection in the mirror changed again, revealing another family. A mother is patiently helping her child with homework, calmly explaining even when the child does not understand, all the while wearing a loving and compassionate smile on her face. This father understands how to respect his child and does not hold grudges against him. He understands that education requires patience and wisdom, not anger and reprimand. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva explained, and the assembly, gazing upon the pure and serene vision, fell into deep contemplation. Worldly parents often fail to understand that the arrival of a child is a form of spiritual practice. Through interacting with their children, parents can learn patience, tolerance, and selfless love, thereby elevating their own state of being. Unfortunately, many parents regard their children as appendages or private property, neglecting the child's independent personality and innate nature. A young mother asked, Great being, since a child chooses their parents based on dependent origination, what exactly is this origination? Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked at him with eyes full of compassion, and this is precisely the important truth I wish to convey to all of you. Understanding this, you will realize why it is unwise to hold resentment against children. All eyes were fixed on Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, eagerly awaiting him to reveal the profound secret concerning the parent-child relationship. All of you, Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva said in a solemn tone, there are primarily three causes and conditions for a child to be born into your family. The first type comes to repay kindness, the second comes to collect a debt, and the third comes to settle a debt. The child who comes to repay kindness formed a positive karmic connection with you in a past life, and Yanyit be your child in this life, bringing you joy and happiness. The child who comes to collect a debt, In a past life, you owed him, and in this life, he has come to claim it from you. A child born to repay debts is one to whom you were indebted in a previous life, and in this life they repay through filial piety. The store was enveloped in silence, as everyone was shocked by the truth, falling into deep contemplation. Regardless of the type of cause and condition, Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva continued, it requires parents to face it with wisdom and compassion. If the child has come to repay a debt of gratitude, you should cherish this benevolent connection and nurture it with love, allowing the virtuous relationship to continue. If the children come to collect debts, you should face them calmly, transforming complaints into virtuous expressions of grievance, thereby resolving karmic debts from past lives. If the child has come to repay a debt, you should not be too harsh in your demands. Welcome to my Buddhist teachings course. The Dharma is boundless. These three types of causes and conditions are not fixed and unchanging. They can be transformed through actions in this lifetime. A child who is grateful may turn into a debtor if harmed. A child who demands repayment, when treated with compassion, may turn to express gratitude instead. A child who repays debts and is treated with respect may transcend the creditor-debtor relationship and establish a more harmonious parent-child relationship. At this moment, the young man who had been crying earlier asked, "Great teacher, it seems my child has come to collect a debt. How can I restore our relationship?" Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked at him with a compassionate gaze. First, you need to let go of attachment and control over the child. Many parents consider their children as extensions of themselves and believe they must grow according to their own wishes. In fact, every child is an independent life, possessing their own character and mission. Secondly, learn to listen and understand. When a child argues with you, do not hastily scold them. Instead, calmly listen to their thoughts and feelings. Perhaps it has its own reasoning, but its mode of expression is not yet fully matured. Ultimately, dissolve resentment with love and compassion. Even if the child comes to collect a debt, it is due to causes and conditions from past lives, not his fault. Approach with a compassionate heart, gradually resolving past life grievances and establishing a new, healthy parent-child relationship. The young man, after listening, nodded thoughtfully. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva then turned to the middle-aged man who was complaining about his disobedient son. "You often discipline strictly. Have you ever considered how the child feels?" The man hesitated for a moment, then bowed his head and said, "I just want him to study well and have a successful future." This is precisely the mindset of many parents. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva said, "You think it is for the child's benefit, but in reality, it is to fulfill your own expectations." Every child possesses unique talents and a distinct mission. Forcibly molding them according to one's own desires only stifles their true nature and provokes greater rebellion. "What should I do then?" the man asked sincerely. Observing, respecting, and guiding according to the principles of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva. Observe the child's nature and interests, respect their choices and thoughts, and then wisely guide them toward the path of goodness. Remember, education is not about control, but about inspiration, not about indoctrination, but about guidance. At this moment, an elderly man weathered by life's hardships stepped forward and asked in a trembling voice, "Master, my children have all grown up, yet they rarely come home to visit. Is it because I did not owe them enough in my past life that I cannot receive filial piety in this life?" Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked at his displeased, wrinkled face and said, "There is the coming together and parting of causes and conditions. This is the natural law. But also reflect on whether you have been too demanding during your child's growth process. Have you given them enough freedom and respect? Provide knowledge and understanding when they are in need. Silent in the prison, tears welled up in the eyes. Do not harbor resentment. Do not cling." Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva gently said, "Let go of past regrets and approach present relationships with equanimity. Perhaps, when you no longer expect or demand, you may instead receive unexpected warmth." Then, a young couple, hand in hand, step forward respectfully to inquire about the surroundings. What teachings do you have to impart? Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked at the hopeful couple and smiled, saying, "Raising children is like planting a tree. One must not rush the process. Give children sunshine, rain, and fertile soil, allowing them to grow naturally. Do not excessively prune because of your own expectations, otherwise you may harm the true nature of the tree." Remember these 3 points. First, respect the inherent nature of children and do not forcibly alter it. Second, lead by example. Teach through strict personal conduct and be a role model for the children. Third, while giving love, also teach children to take responsibility and face adversity. Most importantly, do not regard the child as an extension of yourself or private property, but see them as an independent and dignified life. Your responsibility is not to shape him into the person you want, but to help him become the best version of himself. The young couple, after listening, had eyes shimmering with the light of emotion and insight, deeply resonating within their hearts. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva looked around and saw the souls who had once been fathers and mothers, his heart filled with compassion and mercy. He knows that countless families are undergoing similar struggles and confusions. Everyone, his voice is gentle yet firm. The relationship between parent and child is one of the most important practices in life. It teaches us selfless love, a heart of compassion, and the wisdom of letting go. Do not underestimate this relationship, nor become attached to control and expectations. Interact with others with an ordinary mind. Guide with wisdom. Embrace with compassion and tolerance. Naturally, the family will be harmonious, and the parent-child relationship will be naturally harmonious. Remember, children are not your private property, but gifts bestowed upon you by the universe. Cherish this gift, respect their independence and right to choose, and help them grow into a compassionate and responsible person. This is the greatest merit of parents. After the proper teaching by Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva concluded, the mother of the child who had run away from home suddenly displayed a joyful expression. "I understand now. It is not the child who must adapt to me, but rather I who must learn to understand and respect the child. I should not hurt her feelings because of my own stubbornness." Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva nodded and smiled gently, showing profound understanding. After returning, communicate with the child with an equal and balanced mind, without blaming or criticizing, only expressing care and understanding. You will find that when you let go of control, relationships naturally improve. Amitabha Buddha, the woman brought her hands together in a gesture of reverence and gratefully said, "Thank you, great Bodhisattva, for beginning." At this moment, King Yama stepped forward and said, "Great Bodhisattva, your compassion and teachings are profoundly enlightening. It is unfortunate that worldly parents rarely have the opportunity to hear such wisdom." Bodhisattva Kṣitigarbha pondered for a moment, then said, "Well said, well said. Why not take this opportunity to allow these enlightened souls to return to the human world and transmit this wisdom to all beings?" Whenever parents and children are caught in endless disputes, these moments can transform into a single kind thought, reminding people to reflect on the true essence of the parent-child relationship. King Yama gladly agreed, considering this action very virtuous. If the human parent-child relationship can be harmonious, much of the suffering over time will be alleviated. Then Bodhisattva Kṣitigarbha addressed the assembled souls, saying, "Now that you have understood the true nature of the parent-child relationship, are you willing to undertake this important responsibility, return to the human realm, and resolve the conflicts between parents and their children?" All the souls expressed their willingness. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva nodded slightly, then waved his hand, infusing a ray of golden light into each soul. From this moment forward, you will transform into rays of blessings. Whenever a family is on the verge of breaking apart, when the relationship between parents and children is tense, you will become a gentle breeze that disperses the resentment in their hearts, a droplet of nectar that nourishes their parched souls, and a sigh that awakens the compassion within them. The myriad souls and spirits transform into scattered starlight, dispersing throughout the human realm. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva gazed upon this magnificent scene and softly said, "May all parents and children in the world understand the nature of their karmic connections and live in harmony. May every household be free from disputes and filled with loving kindness." King Yama sighed nearby, deeply compassionate and merciful, remarking that this act generates immeasurable merit. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva smiled gently, for the nature of causes and conditions is fundamentally empty. When the mind is clear and enlightened, why worry about familial discord? May all beings in the world attain understanding. A child being born into your family is not a coincidence, but a matter of fate. The art of parent-child interaction lies in understanding and respect. Thus, when a family lives in harmony, all affairs prosper, and the nation enjoys peace, and the people live in safety. Having spoken, Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva continued his rounds, and his profound wisdom and teachings, like starlight scattered across the human world, illuminated the path ahead for countless families, resolving numerous conflicts and misunderstandings between parents and children, allowing the seeds of love and understanding to take root and blossom into the most beautiful flowers among humanity.